right. Good Sunday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I am your meteorologist, Joseph Pearson. Let's go ahead and talk about the weather for your Sunday evening going into your future. So, the main question, what will we be talking about tonight? Um, obviously, obviously, we will indeed talk about the current weather, what's going on right now, also the weather for tonight. We also will talk about this week's forecast update, and what's going to happen this week because it is Sunday evening. We'll talk about a flood risk that goes into tonight, and then after all that rainfall moves off, obviously it will be done, but talk about that. And then after that, we will talk about the tropics as well. Tropics as well is also something else we're going to talk about. So, pretty much a normal Sunday. Normal Sunday evening, normal week forecast update, it seems. So let's go on first and talk about what's going on currently. Oh, wait, one more thing, actually. If you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button yet, go on and do so. It's free. We've had 5 people tune in so far, and we only have 2 likes, so go and hit the like button if you have not already. Alright, now what's actually going on throughout the entire state of South Carolina and throughout the U.S., we do in fact have some rainfall right now that is going on. It goes from Sumter to Florence over into Orangeburg, the Tri-County area of Dorchester, Berkeley, Charleston County going over into Beaufort, Hilton Head Island, and for the most part, some rainfall over here near Loris, Conway, Carolina Forest, North Myrtle Beach as well. Now, what's going on throughout the entire U.S.? Rainfall going on inside of New York as well as New Jersey going into Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and even inside of Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri going into Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. We also do have some rainfall going on in New Mexico and Arizona. Now, in terms of rainfall elsewhere, rainfall definitely going on in Washington State, over inside of Idaho, Montana, and Oregon. Well, everyone else is looking relatively on the drier side of things for now. Now, what about cloud cover? Cloud cover going on right now throughout the low country, throughout the PD, the Grand Strand, throughout the Midlands. Upstate looks a little bit clear, but definitely still some isolated cloud cover up there. And even if we go even further into the future, late into tonight, that cloud cover still seems to stay relatively on the mostly cloudy side throughout the entire state. Even as you move into tomorrow morning, that cloud cover will be moving to the east. And as it moves into the east, we will start to receive some more clear conditions, but definitely not completely clear in the low country, the Grand Strand, and the PD areas, and maybe even other portions as well in the Midlands, possibly even the upstate, but it seems relatively light. Current temperatures right now, 64 in Columbia as well as 63 in Orangeburg, 64 in Somerville as well as 65 in Georgetown, 66 in Murray's Inlet, 66 inside of Myrtle Beach, 65 in Conway, 67 in North Myrtle Beach. We also do have around 64 in Charleston, 65 in Aiken, and even 67 in Lawrence, 64 in Greenville, 67 in Spartanburg, and 67 in Gaffney, 63 York and Rock Hill. Low temperatures for tonight, around 57 in Anderson, 57 in Greenville, as well as 57 in Spartanburg, 57 in Rock Hill, and even 58 in Girard, 58 in Dillon, and even 59 in Florence, 59 in Sumter, 57 in Kingstree, 59 in Moncks Corner, and 62 in Charleston, 58 in Walterboro, 58 in Aiken and Barnwell, 63 in Hilton Head Island, even 60 in Myrtle Beach. Now for your rainfall for tonight, 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch possible in Walterboro, also in Hilton Head Island, Kingstree, Florence, Dillon, Sumter, Girard, all included in there, and then a 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch possible in Myrtle Beach, going into Moncks Corner, Charleston, going to Georgetown, and somebody might even get around a quarter of an inch to a half an inch. So it looks like that's really where it's going to max out at, but it could get higher. This is just an accumulation prediction, preliminary. So things can change, but this is what we're looking at for right now in terms of exact totals or somewhere in the area of totals. Our crazy score for tonight. If you have no idea what the crazy score is, the score that we see how crazy the weather is inside of South Carolina, we are at a 38. A 38. No, I'm not going live tonight. The reason why we're at a 38 is because it's going to be cloudy, it's going to be breezy as we continue through tonight, mild and humid though. Flash flood risk still is there until all of this moisture gets out of South Carolina. That's when we will start to receive, get rid of that flash flood threat as that precipitation continues to move to the east, and we'll talk about it as well, what time it's going to move away. but moderate to heavy rainfall pretty much continues. SPC outlook for tonight. Thunderstorm risk is here. That goes for the Grand Strand. That goes for the PD area. Again, that's for like Florence, going to the entire Grand Strand area. Going over close to, trying to get close to some of these other areas like Camden, not quite making it though. Bishopville, not quite making it though. And some of those other areas, but like Bennettsville's included, Dillon's included, Marion's included, Mullins is included. All those areas have a chance for a thunderstorm for the rest of tonight as those moisture continues to move up to the north and east. And for tomorrow, no thunderstorms are expected tomorrow. Expect to be a good, nice day tomorrow. And for Tuesday, same thing. Looking to be nice, not really looking for too much in terms of thunderstorm activity. Now for excessive rainfall, we only have one day of excessive rainfall, and it is indeed for tonight. Slight risk of excessive rainfall goes for Loris, goes for North Myrtle Beach, Carolina Forest, Garden City Beach goes into Johnsonville, King Street, Georgetown goes into the Tri-County area, Ridgeville going to Latson, Moncks Corner, Allendale, and close to Charleston, but for the most part, everyone inside the yellow, 15% risk of flash flooding or scattered flash flooding. Now in the green, this is isolated flash flooding. It goes from Charleston to Foley Beach to Seabrook Island to Walterboro to Orangeburg, St. Matthews, Somerton, Sumter going to Maysville, Darlington, Florence, Marion, and Dillon, and Pamplico and Lake City. All isolated flash flooding is possible in those areas as well. Now that is for a 5% risk of flash flooding there. Every other day after that, though, looks relatively nice. Now let's go into the models. So we're going to start off here at 9 o'clock p.m. You can see all this moisture, all this convection that is going on right now. As you continue to push this forward all the way to 12 to 1 to maybe even around 2, 3 p.m., you can start to see that convexity starting to get a lot more on the quieter side, not too much on the widespread side, and it's starting to be a lot more scattered in place. And then that low pressure will continue to move more and more to the east, away from the state of South Carolina, and as it continues to move its way east, that moisture inland towards us definitely goes down a lot. And at this point, you go into around like 9, 10 a.m. tomorrow, it's looking a lot, just a lot drier, barely any rainfall, if any at all. And as you go into 1 p.m. tomorrow as well, looks to be very nice. Now, if you go even further into the future, you can see that, yes, we will maybe have some more scattered shower activity, isolated shower activity that might try to move its way in from this low pressure, but it's not going to accumulate much if it does accumulate at all. That goes all the way from like 8 p.m. tomorrow night all the way into like the early morning hours on Tuesday. And that low pressure actually will try to take that curve more back down to the south. And so that was what was predicted. If you have been paying attention to, if we talk about like the tracks for all like the low pressures, rather be on the Euro model or rather be on the GFS or anything like that, you can see that that low pressure will try to kind of make that turn back down to the south. And so this is what it seems like it's going to try and do. It's going to try and bring some more moisture back. But again, it's not going to be anything like we've been seeing for the past couple of days. It's going to be relatively on the more isolated to probably barely any sort of accumulation side. But that's it for the short term. What about the long term? So after this low pressure gets out, for the most part, it looks dry. Looks nice as you start to go into this week. I mean, we're at the 18th now. High pressure takes over. It's looking dry, probably a bit warmer than average. And so everything's looking good, fun in the sun. As you go into around like the 19th and the 20th, again, maybe some rain, some thunderstorm, maybe you could try to move in. But for the most part, it looks relatively on the quieter side still. Go through the 23rd, the 24th, the 25th, and this is 300 hours out, so once we get to October the 25th, we really can't go any further than that. But what I can see here is that for the most part, it looks like that there could be a potential system that tries to move its way more to the east. This could potentially be a cold front right here as you go into the 25th. That moves in, high pressure pops in right behind it, and some more rainfall. But again, way too far out, so I'm going to kind of hold off on that for now. But that's really in terms of the long-term future. What about this week's forecast? So we're going to start off with the week forecast right now. So starting off for this week, goes all the way from October the 12th into October the 18th. It is indeed looking like it will be a warmer than average week We do have the more warmer than average temperatures going on in the upstate, while the more closer you get to the coast, that's the more seasonable temperature. That's the more you're not really going to see too much of a difference from what you see. And so, could obviously just be because of the low pressure, or it could just because you're near the coast. But I mean, if I'm looking at it directly, it just seems because that low pressure is close. Right there, it's looking to be a bit more cooler than average, and also could also just be because of the coastal areas. When you're close to the coast, your temperatures are more stabilized, and so that's why when it's summertime, the inland areas are more hot. When it's wintertime, obviously the inland areas are more cooler, more the freezing type, just because the ocean stabilizes the coastal areas, and so it could be both or just a combination. But starting back here, again, looking like to be an above average in terms of temperature week. Now, what about precipitation? Seems like this will be another below average week, so meaning we won't really see too much precipitation, which is not a good thing for the drought. Obviously, with all this rainfall that we just got, that could help immensely after we go through this little dry patch, but this would put a lot of questions in for what's going to happen with this drought monitor. Just because you're going to have to take both these into account. You go all the way from last week Thursday to this week Thursday. It's going to be a pretty interesting thing to see. So we're going to continue to keep that in mind as well. Now, if we do go on real quick and show the actual thermodynamics again, we're going to go back to the GFS. And as we just go through the week, I just want you to watch for the warmer air, the cooler air. And as you go through the 15th, the 16th, I mean, you can see there's some cold air that might try to make its way as you get more into like the end part of the week. But for the most part, the warmer air definitely tries to prevail a lot more. And that's why I believe the upstate's going to be more of the above average area. And that's just because they are constantly in an above average zone, while the coastal area, it gets cooler at times, and just the more towards the coastal areas you go, that's what it seems like. And you go through the 17th, the 18th, but it's still warmer than average though for the most part. So that warmer than average trend seems to be the most accurate and the most correct prediction in terms of will it be above average, will it be below average. And so that's just for temperatures. Now, obviously, what about actual precipitation? So if we go on over here real quick, that's excessive rainfall right there on the screen. If we go into the southeast, right here it shows, for the most part, as we go through the next 7 days, this goes all the way to Sunday, October the 19th, 2025, 8 p.m. Look at this. Just not much at all. It looks like, to be honest, we're not really going to receive that much rainfall. And so you see some areas over here for the next 7 days that might not even see a drop of rainfall. You have some areas that might see rainfall, but it might not be able to accumulate. You see some areas like in the upstate, 10ths to 2/10, maybe 3/10. You see a tenth potentially over there inside of like near Myrtle Beach, maybe a 10th to 2/10 over there inside of the Tri-County area, Low Country area, Grand Strand, PD area. But for the most part, it seems like we're not going to receive much in terms of precipitation. So when you combine that, and then you also combine all the rainfall we just saw, I was just talking about the drought monitor earlier, kind of puts into question what in the world is that drought monitor going to look like as you go into Thursday of this week. But we'll get there when we get there. We will get there when we get there. Now for the tropics. The tropics obviously being an area that we still have to watch for because it is still just mid-October. We're not done until December the 1st. And so we still have this disturbance out here. Invest 97 is now an area that we really have to kind of watch for, but I don't really think it's going to do anything for us. I'll explain why in just a second. But it says showers and thunderstorms have increased in association within the small area of low pressure located about 900 miles southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. Environmental conditions are forecast to become more favorable for further development of the system during the next few days, and a tropical depression is likely to form by the middle part of this week, while it moves to the west-northwest, then northwest at 15 to 20 miles per hour across the central tropical Atlantic. So this has a 60% chance of forming over the next 48 hours and a 70% chance over the next 7 days. So this looks like that this area right here will most likely form. At least that is what the National Hurricane Center is saying. And so if you go into what does this actual system look like, what does it look like right now? It looks like it is definitely increasing. In terms of convection right now, you can see all of the moisture ongoing with this system right now. As it is still growing, the moisture is growing, the convection is growing, and that is a strengthening storm. Now, if you go into the global hurricane models, most of them have it curving to the north and east, which would be completely away from us, wouldn't even be that much of a concern to us at all. Even if you go into the GFS is saying the same thing, going to curve away from us. The GEPS, same thing, is going to curve away. And then even the intensity guidance as well. Intensity guidance right now has this thing most likely just staying around a tropical storm, but you have this one isolated one who thinks it could probably get up to hurricane status. So it's not impossible. Not impossible, but it's looking kind of unlikely for now. But it's possible. It's possible. And so with all things, or just all things with weather just in general, anything's possible at this point. Let me go on and check out the actual Euro model now, because if you remember yesterday, last night, I believe, if it was not last night, then it was Thursday night, but we were talking about this area over here inside of the eastern Atlantic that we might have to actually watch for. And so I haven't looked at the models really today. Just haven't really looked at it. Just really haven't had the time to look at it. But I will say that you can see here goes. There was, I believe, where future hurricane. Trying to remember the name of it. It was the one that just formed. I don't know why in the world the name just blanked for me right now, but it was the one before Lorenzo was. It wasn't Karen. It was the one before Karen, and it was that one. I forgot which one it was. I don't know why the name just completely blanked for me, but it was that one. And so that one did not form. But for the most part, that's not looking like a concern us at all as it continues to move its way to the east. Now, there goes the area that we're watching for right there on the southern side. On the southern side, that's going to continue to move its way up. But look at the low pressure that's starting to form at the western side of Africa. That's the ones that I was kind of looking for. And so for the most part, you kind of have it trying to be a little bit consistent. I think it was a little bit more consistent yesterday. But for now, it looks still more like it wants to be on that southern track. And so it's still more than 10 days out. Still more than 10 days out. You have a couple that might want to try and curve. You have a couple that stay more on that southern track and go into like towards like just the northern tip of South America. But for the most part, it's definitely still looking like something that we might have to watch for. So I'm going to continue to watch for the one right after this Invest 97L here. And also another thing that I am watching for as well is you can kind of see these two. You can see the Invest 97 right here. Trying to maybe try and take another separate curve back towards the west. Now, it doesn't really seem it's going to do anything after, but possibly due towards a high pressure potentially forming here. That's maybe why it's trying to circle around. That's mainly what I'm seeing right now. But it's looking like that it's not really going to do anything afterwards. So it looks like that it's going to mainly stay on the eastern side and not really do too much for us. And so that's it for the tropics. I don't really have anything else. I'm going to have to say here. So let's go on and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Again, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. You have to be a subscriber to the channel, and you have to be, obviously, have an account. Because if you don't have an account, you can't comment, and you can't subscribe either. So probably very important that you make one. Starting off, Mr. Chris was here first tonight. Says, good evening, everyone. Finally getting a break from all this rain. It was about time. Definitely going to help with the drought concerns, but definitely nice to get a little bit of a break. He also says, please remember to go and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Also share it with everyone that you know. Absolutely correct. We've had 15 people tune in so far and only 7 likes. I don't know what's going on there. What's going on with the other 8 that have not hit the like button yet. But if you're a part of the other 8, go and hit the like button. It's free. And also subscribe. We are at 594. We are 6 away from that main goal of 600. We have a Q&A at 600. My Aunt Lula comes in and says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. He says, wow, it rained all day yesterday and today. My yard is a mess, but it did not stop me from going to 2 church services. That's great to hear. Glad that you were still able to go. And in terms of your yard being a mess, I'm pretty sure almost everybody's is at this point. But glad that it didn't stop you or prohibit you from doing anything. My Aunt Shirley comes in and says, good evening, everyone. All good evening to you. Terrell says, greetings, everyone. Greetings to you as well. And then Thad comes in and says, good evening, Joseph. I trust all is well. All is well. It is beginning to look like it's cooling down a bit. Beautiful day here in Central Texas. That's fantastic to hear. Glad that it's starting to cool down a little bit. Glad that it is starting to cool down. Tremont comes in and says, good evening. Lots of rain fell today inside of Sumter. Well, in terms of, actually, you do bring up a good point, because I actually do want to see if y'all actually do have a drought. Y'all don't have a drought right now. So you actually, y'all don't have a drought right now. So in terms of, do you need the rainfall? Yes, because you're in a normally dry, but that's actually not a drought going on. It's really just abnormally dry. But I actually did just want to see that real quick, because you brought up a specific location that I wanted to see about. And then also, thank you for telling me it was Jerry. Okay. I don't know why I just forgot about that. I had to go back towards the names, and so I thought, well, maybe it was the one before, but then it was just Karen, because Karen was the one that happened up there in the north and east, and it kind of just moved its way up, and then after that, I was just like, well, you know what, I'll figure it out later. But thank y'all for telling me that, though. Do appreciate that. Terrell comes in again and says, rainy day here, rainy day and wind, nice and cozy here. Cooked soup and pumpkin loaf. That's fantastic. Glad that it was nice and cozy, and you got yourself some good food as well. And that is all that I have that I can see right now inside of the audience. You still have time if you want to go on and be a part of the audience. You just, again, have to be a subscriber, and obviously you have to have that account, that YouTube account. It's free. It is indeed free. So let's go on and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, what 4 locations am I talking about? I'm obviously talking about San Antonio, Texas, also Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and then Duncan, Oklahoma. And the reason why we talk about those locations is because we have people from those areas who tune in almost nightly. And so I decided, well, let's go and give them their forecast, even though they tune in, and obviously this is not their area, they still tune in either way, so might as well just go on and give them their forecast. So we're going to start off with San Antonio first. You have low temperatures tonight at 68, high temperatures tomorrow at 90, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 68 as well. No precipitation is expected at this time. Excessive rainfall and severe weather? No. Absolutely not. No severe weather, no excessive rainfall, or anything like that. Now for Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at 57, high temperatures tomorrow at 70, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 55. There is a chance of rain for tonight. No precipitation is expected tomorrow, though. In terms of severe weather, nothing for you. Excessive rainfall, absolutely nothing. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, you have low temperatures tonight at 56, high temperature tomorrow at 59, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 55. Rain is indeed expected tonight and tomorrow during the day, and it will be breezy, but showers are likely tomorrow night, so it does lower a little bit, but still you can pretty much expect it, even though it's a little bit less likely, but you can pretty much still expect some. In terms of excessive rainfall and severe weather, none for you. And then the final location being Duncan, Oklahoma, you have low temperatures tonight at 69, high temperatures tomorrow at 85, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 64. No precipitation is expected at this time, except for tomorrow during the day. Slight chance of showers tomorrow, so like at 20%. No excessive rainfall is expected, no severe weather, but that fire concern that goes into tonight, with obviously, I'm guessing it's due to a cold front, just because how the temperatures have kind of dropped a little bit, so I'm guessing that's the main reason why you actually, even though it says you have no chance for precipitation today, I actually do see some rainfall that's actually to your west right now. Will it make it to you? That's a great question. But for right now, the National Weather Service says no to rainfall. And that also has to do with accumulation, because the chance for rainfall is based on the chance of you receiving accumulation. So it might not accumulate into anything. It might just be a shower that comes in and does nothing, just that annoying rain that doesn't really do anything. And so that seems like that is all for those 4 areas. Let me go on right now and check, because I know I actually did get some emails, all from my Aunt Lula, her pictures in Georgetown. It was over here, weather report in her yard and on an adjacent highway to her house. This was one of the pictures that she sent in right here. Was actually right here. You can see a tree down in front of her, and which is actually kind of interesting, because I actually do want to see what the max wind gusts that we've seen for just this entire system, because even where I am as well, I've seen branches all down throughout the road. I see even like a pretty big, I don't know if it's necessarily like a full-on branch, or it might be even bigger than that, but for the most part, I've seen them down too. So I honestly am kind of interested to see what the max wind gusts are. But obviously with all this rainfall as well, that softens up roots. That makes it even more vulnerable for trees and for damage to occur. So it doesn't matter even if it's 30 miles an hour. If you get a lot of rainfall with it, it can definitely do some damage as well. But that is one picture that she sent. Here's the second one of kind of just like a little flooded, almost like ditch alongside. Now she also sent a second one. I'm going to cover it up so I don't show her email by accident. This one pretty much is just the same picture, kind of near like a ditch area, kind of near the same highway here. And then this one was from Moran, I guess, and this is her yard right here. Here's one of them with more rainfall, and then here's the second one. So thank you so much for these pictures. If you want to go on and send me a picture, you can. You just have to send them to scweather360@gmail.com. Again, that is scweather360@gmail.com. And so that seems like that is all inside of my email. Again, you can send them to me. And if you send it to me tonight, I definitely will read it out tomorrow. Top fans for the night tonight. Mr. Chris at number 1, Trails at number 2, then my Aunt Lula is at number 3. Congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night tonight. And so that is all. So make sure, if you have not hit the like button, the subscribe button yet, or the share button, go and do so. It's free. Like button, we've had 16 people tune in, only 9 likes. Go and hit it if you have not already. Subscribe button, we're at 594. We are 6 away from that main goal of 600. We're having a Q&A at 600, obviously. And then also the share button. Sharing is caring. You can send it to people on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, anything like that. You can also send it to your friends, family, acquaintances, your worst enemies. You can send it to anybody you want to. Mr. Anthony comes inside the chat and says, I'm late, but I'm here. We're glad that you made it, even though you were a bit late. That's fine. That is fine. Absolutely nothing to be sorry for. And that is all that I see here inside the chat for tonight. So I will be back tomorrow morning with your Monday morning forecast update. Make sure that you are there. And then for the most part, just for the stuff that's going on this week, I don't really see anything else really except for the drought monitor. There's, no new month or anything like that, even though we're getting more halfway. Actually, this Wednesday, we'll talk about the last half of October on Wednesday, so I guess we'll do that. And then on Thursday, we will talk about what's going on in terms of the drought monitor as well, which I'm very interested to see about that one. That one I think could go almost either way. I will be back tomorrow. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Sunday, and make sure you hit those 2 buttons before you leave.